The content of this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It does not constitute financial, legal, or professional advice. The information presented is based on verifiable public sources, including government announcements and credible news reports. Always consult with qualified professionals and official government agencies for decisions regarding your benefits and finances. If you're currently receiving SNAP benefits, also known as food stamps, you need to hear what I'm about to tell you. According to recent announcements from the Trump administration, all 42 million people currently on food stamps may be required to reapply for their benefits. That's right, even if you recently recertified your benefits, you might need to go through the entire process again. I'm going to explain exactly what's happening, why the administration says they're doing this, and most importantly, what you need to do to protect your benefits. Plus, I have a critical update about President Trump's proposed $2,000 stimulus check. Just yesterday, he provided new details about the timeline and who would qualify. This is information you need to know, because it could put real money in your pocket next year. My name is Michael Rodriguez, and I specialize in helping people navigate government benefits programs. For over a decade, I've been creating educational content about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, and other programs that affect millions of Americans, especially seniors and their families. My goal is simple: to give you accurate, verified information so you can make the best decisions for yourself and your loved ones. If you're new here, welcome. I'm glad you found this channel. Do me a quick favor and drop a comment below letting me know what city and state you're watching from. I love knowing where my audience is located, and if you've been watching for a while, welcome back. I appreciate your continued support. There's a lot to cover today about food stamps and the stimulus update, so let's get right into it. First, let's talk about what's happening with SNAP benefits. According to multiple news sources including Newsweek, Fox Business, and The Hill, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins announced that the Trump administration plans to require everyone currently receiving SNAP to reapply for their benefits. Now, this might come as a shock to many of you because you're already doing this regularly. Some of you have to recertify every 6 months. Some are on a 12-month cycle. Some are on a 24-month cycle. Regardless of your specific situation, you've been regularly proving your eligibility and updating your information with your state SNAP office. But now, according to Secretary Rollins, the administration wants everyone to go through the full reapplication process again, not just the standard recertification. Let me read you what she said in an interview with Newsmax on November 13, 2025. She stated that the plan is to, quote, have everyone reapply for their benefits, make sure that everyone that's taking a taxpayer-funded benefit through food stamps, that they literally are vulnerable and they can't survive without it. The administration's stated reason for this decision is to combat fraud and abuse in the SNAP program. According to a USDA spokesperson quoted by Newsweek, quote, Secretary Rollins wants to ensure the fraud, waste, and incessant abuse of SNAP ends. Let's look at the numbers they're citing. According to Fox Business, stolen benefits cost the government more than $102 million in the first quarter of fiscal year 2025. That's up from $69.4 million in the previous quarter. Secretary Rollins has also mentioned that preliminary data from 29 states showed approximately 186,000 deceased individuals still listed as receiving benefits, and around 500,000 people appearing to receive SNAP benefits in more than one state. Now, before we go further, I want to give you some important context about how the SNAP program actually works, because understanding this will help you see why this mass reapplication could create significant challenges. First, SNAP already has robust anti-fraud measures built into the system. Let me explain how it currently works. Number 1, regular recertification is already required. If you're working and receiving SNAP, you typically must recertify every 6 months. That's already happening. Number 2, income reporting requirements. If your wages increase by more than $10 per month, you're required to report that income change to your SNAP office immediately. You don't wait for your next recertification. You report it right away. Number 3, household changes must be reported. If someone moves out of your household, if someone gets a job and no longer qualifies, if any major household change occurs, you're required to report it. These aren't optional. These are legal requirements. Number 4, work requirements. For able-bodied adults without dependents, there are strict work requirements. You must work at least 80 hours per month, be in a job training program, or be enrolled in school. If you don't meet these requirements, you can only receive SNAP benefits for 3 months in a 3-year period. Number 5, the system automatically prevents ineligible purchases. When you use your EBT card at a grocery store, the system already knows what items are SNAP eligible and what items aren't. You cannot buy cigarettes, alcohol, or other non-food items with SNAP benefits. The system simply won't allow it. Now, regarding those statistics the administration mentioned about deceased individuals and duplicate recipients, there's important context here. When data shows someone appearing to receive benefits in multiple states, it often means that person recently moved and their information hasn't been fully updated in all systems yet. That doesn't mean they're actually receiving double benefits. The federal and state systems cross-check this information regularly. Similarly, with deceased individuals, yes, there can be lag time between when someone passes away and when all government systems are updated. The USDA regularly checks with the Social Security Administration to identify deceased recipients. Is the system perfect? No. But describing the entire program as, quote, rife with fraud based on these data points may not tell the complete story. Let me show you some actual data about SNAP participation. According to USDA statistics, there are currently about 42 million Americans receiving SNAP benefits. That number has remained relatively stable since 2020. It hasn't dramatically increased, despite claims you may have heard. What has increased is the total dollar amount spent on SNAP, but that's primarily due to food inflation, not a massive increase in the number of recipients. Looking at where SNAP recipients live, the highest concentrations are in New Mexico, Washington, D.C., and Louisiana. According to USDA data, the program serves a critical function. Approximately 39% of SNAP recipients are children and adolescents under 18, according to the Department of Agriculture. A significant portion are also elderly or disabled adults. So what does this mean for you if you're currently receiving SNAP benefits? Here's what you need to do to protect yourself. Step 1. Get your documents organized now. Make sure you have all your income information readily available. Gather pay stubs, social security statements, pension information, any source of income you have. Get your deduction information together. Rent or mortgage payments, utility bills, medical expenses if you're elderly or disabled. Step 2. Update your information immediately. If there have been any changes to your income, your household composition, or your address that you haven't reported yet, do it now. Don't wait. Make sure your state SNAP office has accurate current information about you before this mass reapplication process begins. Step 3. Understand the new work requirements. The Trump administration's Big Beautiful Bill, passed in July 2025, significantly expanded work requirements. According to Yahoo News reporting, able-bodied individuals without dependents must now work at least 80 hours per month between ages 18 and 65. Previously, this requirement only applied up to age 55. If you have a dependent child aged 14 or older, you now face additional work requirements. Previously, having any child under 18 exempted you. Veterans, people who recently aged out of foster care, and unhoused individuals are no longer automatically exempt from work requirements. Step 4. Keep detailed records. Document everything. Keep copies of all documents you submit, notes from any phone calls with your SNAP office, confirmation numbers from online submissions. If there's any dispute about your eligibility, having this documentation could be crucial. Step 5. Be prepared for potential delays. With 42 million people potentially going through full reapplication, state SNAP offices are going to be overwhelmed. According to reporting from multiple sources, states have expressed concern about the administrative burden this will create. Some states still use computer systems from the 1970s that aren't designed to handle this kind of mass processing. The bottom line is this: don't assume your benefits will automatically continue. Even if you just recertified last month, you may still need to go through this process. Stay on top of any communications from your state SNAP office. Check your mail regularly. Check your email if you've provided one. Check your online account if your state has an online portal. Now, let's switch gears and talk about the stimulus check update, because this is important news that could affect your finances in 2026. President Trump has been discussing the idea of sending $2,000 checks to Americans funded by tariff revenue. This isn't the first time he's mentioned it, but on Monday, November 17, 2025, he provided the most specific details yet. According to multiple news reports from WCNC, CNN, and other outlets, here's what President Trump said while answering questions in the Oval Office. Quote, "We are going to be issuing dividends later on, somewhere prior to, probably the middle of next year, so a little bit later than that, thousands of dollars for individuals of moderate income, middle income. So let me break down what we know and what we don't know about these proposed payments. What we know, timeline. President Trump indicated the checks would come around mid-2026 or slightly later. That means we're looking at approximately 6 to 8 months from now. Amount, he stated it would be at least $2,000 per person. Income limits. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Fox News that the checks would go to families making less than $100,000. So if your household income is under $100,000, you would potentially qualify. Who's included? The proposal is modeled after the 2020 stimulus checks. Those went to adults, dependents, and children. Based on previous stimulus check structures, this would likely include seniors receiving Social Security, individuals on disability benefits, and families with children. What we don't know: congressional approval. This is huge. President Trump cannot simply send out these checks on his own. Congress controls government spending. Any stimulus payment would require new legislation to be passed by both the House and Senate. Republican Senator Josh Hawley introduced the American Worker Rebate Act in July to create a framework for such payments, but the legislation hasn't gained traction. In fact, several Republican senators have publicly opposed the idea, with some calling it, quote, a bad idea, and others saying it's, quote, insane. The math: here's where things get complicated. According to Tax Foundation analysis reported by CNN, even if the income cutoff is $100,000, approximately 150 million adults would qualify. That would cost roughly $300 billion. If children and dependents are included, the cost could reach $600 billion, according to some estimates. However, according to Treasury Department data, the U.S. has collected approximately $195 billion in customs duties in fiscal year 2025. The Tax Foundation projects that tariffs might raise around $216 billion in fiscal year 2026. Do you see the problem? The cost of the checks potentially exceeds the revenue being collected from tariffs. Supreme Court uncertainty. There's another major issue. The Supreme Court is currently reviewing the legality of how President Trump imposed many of these tariffs. If the court rules against the administration, they may have to return tens of billions of dollars to businesses, which would significantly reduce the amount available for any dividend payments. What form the payments would take? Treasury Secretary Bessent said on ABC that the $2,000 dividend, quote, could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways. He suggested it might not be direct checks, but could instead be tax reductions, such as no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, or no tax on Social Security benefits. So here's my honest assessment based on the available information. While President Trump clearly wants to do this and is talking about it seriously, there are major obstacles. Congressional approval is not guaranteed, especially with concerns about adding to the national debt and potentially fueling inflation. The math doesn't clearly work based on current tariff revenue, and the legal status of the tariffs themselves is uncertain. Does that mean it definitely won't happen? No, but I would not count on receiving a $2,000 check in 2026 for your financial planning purposes. If it happens, great. It would be a welcome boost. But don't make major financial decisions assuming this money is coming. Some economic experts, including those quoted by CNN, have expressed concern that stimulus checks at this point could actually worsen inflation. We're not currently in a recession or emergency, which is typically when stimulus payments are issued. Sending out hundreds of billions of dollars in checks could increase consumer demand without increasing supply, which could drive prices up further. Now let me address something I've seen circulating online. There are posts claiming that $2,000 direct deposits are going out in phases in November 2025. This is false. Factcheck.org has specifically debunked these claims. No such payments are scheduled. The IRS has not announced any new stimulus checks for November or December 2025. The only payments some people are receiving right now are catch-up payments for people who didn't claim the recovery rebate credit on their 2021 tax returns. These are payments from the 2021 stimulus round, not new payments. The deadline to claim that credit was April 15, 2025, and it has passed. Be very careful about stimulus check scams. The IRS never initiates contact through email, text messages, or social media. If you receive a message claiming to be from the IRS about stimulus payments and asking for your personal information, it's a scam. Delete it. The IRS always initiates contact through official mail. So to summarize the stimulus situation, President Trump has proposed $2,000 payments. He's given a tentative timeline of mid-2026. He's indicated an income limit around $100,000, but congressional approval is required. The funding math is questionable and nothing is finalized. Stay informed, but don't count on it for your financial planning. Now, before we wrap up, I want to emphasize something important about both of these topics we've discussed today. Whether it's the SNAP reapplication requirement or the proposed stimulus checks, these are examples of how quickly things can change in government benefits programs. What you knew last month might not be accurate this month. Rules change, requirements change, timelines change. That's why staying informed is so critical. If you depend on government benefits for your financial security, you cannot afford to be caught off guard by sudden changes. Here's what I recommend. Number 1. Verify information from multiple reliable sources. Don't just rely on social media posts or forwarded messages. Check official government websites. Check multiple credible news sources. Number 2. Keep your contact information updated with any agency that provides you benefits. Make sure they can reach you if there are important changes. Number 3. Document everything. Keep copies of all paperwork. Save confirmation numbers. Take notes of phone calls. This documentation can be crucial if there's ever a dispute about your benefits. Number 4, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're confused about how these changes affect you, contact your state benefits office. Many states have advocates or navigators who can help you understand your situation. Number 5, plan conservatively. Hope for the best, but don't make financial commitments based on benefits that haven't been officially approved or deposited into your account. The SNAP reapplication requirement represents a massive administrative undertaking. With 42 million people potentially needing to reapply, there will undoubtedly be delays, confusion, and unfortunately, some people will probably lose benefits due to missed deadlines or missing paperwork, even if they're still eligible. Don't let that be you. Start preparing now. Get your documents together, update your information, understand the new requirements. As for the stimulus checks, remain cautiously optimistic but realistic. If they happen, wonderful. If they don't, you haven't built your budget around money that never arrived. Government benefits programs exist to help people in need. Whether it's SNAP providing food security or stimulus payments providing economic relief, these programs can be lifelines for millions of Americans. But navigating them requires attention, organization, and staying informed. That's what I'm here for. That's what this channel is about, giving you accurate, timely, verified information so you can make the best decisions for yourself and your family. If you found this information helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with anyone you know who receives SNAP benefits because they need to know about this potential reapplication requirement. The more people who are prepared, the fewer people will lose benefits they're entitled to. Drop a comment below if you have questions about anything we discussed today. I read every comment and try to respond when I can. Thank you for watching, and remember, stay informed, stay organized, and stay proactive about protecting your benefits. I'll see you in the next video.